Okay, so it seems that we have some more Cinder news, which I didn't think I'd be kind of talking about for a while, but hey, it seems like she's back in the news due to a new kind of thing that's come out where the ERUPTs have been pretty unhappy with how, some promotions have gone forwards, which could have included Cinder. And obviously, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about VCards. Now, obviously, this is a TCG game set up by Gamersupps, the great company Gamersupps, use code Kazza, by the way. VCards have been around for quite a bit now, and they obviously involve a lot of VTubers. VTubers collaborate with them, they have their own little cards and stuff, and then you can use them almost like any other TCG. It's like using a VTuber as a Pokemon, like, let's be real. And obviously, Cinder was pretty heavily involved in that before a lot of the kind of stuff happened and she went on hiatus. Now, obviously, as we know, Cinder has not said anything else since the apology and is still on hiatus. And it seems like there's a post from the ERUPT Center essentially talking about Cinder not being involved in the VCard or the latest VCard drop, as there was a new one recently. And they say, ERUPTs, I had prepared this message in case Cinder wasn't a part of the new VCard pack, but I'm already seeing fear and frustration being voiced, sometimes in ways that risk doing harm. I understand how painful it is to see her absent, but before we react, I want to offer perspective and peace. VCard is a fast-growing new TCG made up of multiple VTubers and CC communities, and Gamersupps has tons of creators that they work with. In TCGs, whenever a new version or pack comes out, there will always be new stuff that comes with it. But that also means that stuff from previous packs get rotated out. The reason is to maintain balance and create a sustainable collective ecosystem, making previous cards or even specific items, fields, monsters, etc. even more valuable and rare. That said, it's possible Cinder won't be the only person that gets swapped out. It's never personal, it's logistical and thematic, which obviously I do think is true. I think that, obviously there is a case of they need to just kind of switch out some of the VTubers sometimes due to the fact of it just, you want to add a little bit more value to some of the cards maybe, and you don't want to do them too much, else it could look like too much. Again, that is totally a valid reason, but I also do think it is just mainly due to the fact that she's on hiatus. You can like what she did, you can hate what she did, with that whole drama stuff, but at the end of the day, she is still on hiatus, and it's kind of, impossible to ignore that. So again, it doesn't really make any sense why she'd be featured on these cards if she's kind of an inactive VTuber at this point. I know, obviously, it sucks for a lot of Cinder fans to hear that, and it sucks that, she isn't in the V cards this time, but at the same time, I think it is one of these cases where, she's an inactive VTuber. I think a lot of people just don't really understand that. And, although she hasn't really made, I mean, obviously, she has just kind of disappeared. I don't think she made an actual kind of thing saying that she was going on an official hiatus or anything. She just kind of left. So again, maybe that's why some people can't really come to terms with it. But yeah, it is one of these things where I think Gamersupps obviously don't want to work on something where a kind of person isn't active and stuff like that. Now, if Cinder was to come back, I'm sure Gamersupps would probably add her back in and she'd be on the next available drop. And I think that is kind of the case with this one. Obviously, Gamersupps have been a kind of company that don't really judge people. It doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter what happens. They never really get rid of everybody. We've, had that situation with the Kiosha situation where people were trying to attack our sponsors, and obviously they didn't listen. They don't really care. Again, they're a really based company. I'm just gonna say that they're really cool. So obviously, I feel like they would be open to working with her. Also, due to the fact that Cinder is still a co-owner or partial owner of Gamersupps. Let's say there are 3 elements remaining to be revealed. Cinder could either be either of those, even grass, yes, or like Pokemon maybe. She'd be a part of a new element if they decided to do that. Pokemon originally did not start with Steel, Dark, or Fairy type cards, and we've already seen new innovation from V cards through the idea of field cards. They say the truth is we lose either way. If Cinder's included, detractors will cry foul. If she's not, we feel the sting of exclusion. Unless VCards chooses transparency, and it's possible they may not, we won't know the full reasoning if she is or isn't included this time around. Which, yeah, I mean, again, I think it's one of these things where I don't think it's like you feel the sting of exclusion. I think, that's been a very obvious part for a very long time now. Cinder isn't here. She's inactive. She doesn't make videos. She doesn't post anything. She's gone on hiatus due to a lot of the stuff that's gone on, which means she probably won't be featured in some big promotions. I don't think, there's like some sting of exclusion. I think it is mainly due to the fact that she's just not there, you know? Obviously they say, but this much is true. A TCG is iterative, not definitive. Omission isn't deletion, inclusion is a redemption. Each pack is a chapter, not a verdict. If Cinder is rotated out, it may be for balance. If she's rotated in, it may be for profit. Profit isn't shameful. Fans of new creators that get included for the first time will get excited and buy packs. And so would we. For Cinder, neither option proves guilty or innocence. Gamersupps has never been like that. Cinder is still partial owner after all. So I ask you, fellow Parapods, hold your flame steady, don't burn too hot, don't lash out, even if provoked. We carry her warmth, not her ashes, which, yeah, obviously they go into like a big long speech at the end there. Now, the Parapod Center, obviously, they've been very vocal about the stuff that went on with Shylin and stuff, which I really appreciated. And obviously, they, you know, were very vocal about that, which I think is great. And I think, you know, they do provide a positive space for a lot of the good Powerpuffs in the space that just want to kind of move on and, you know, kind of do some stuff. And I think that's totally fine. I think, you know, it's fine to want to, you know, still like Cinder, but not really condone some of the actions that she's done. I think that's totally, you know, fine. But obviously that is up to you and to a lot of people to decide themselves. But also, I think what another thing is that people might get a little bit mad at is Spite got some VCards in this rotation. So I feel like there's probably going to be a couple of angry Powerpuffs there. Obviously, due to the fact of I've seen a lot of hatred towards Spite's way. Obviously, due to her making the whole post saying that, you know, they were copying stuff off of her and things like that. And she was involved in the whole, you know, Cinder drama. And then she gained a massive amount of viewership, from a lot of the stuff that went on. And now people are kind of mad at her, which I just don't really get, to be honest. You know, just get that bag. Obviously, a lot of people in the comments as well saying, to be fair, Lily did say when all that happened that Gamersupps was working on a way to deal with Cinder being a part of the company. They said just because Cinder isn't in the new wave doesn't mean she won't be in the future waves, which, yeah, I mean, you know, she could be in the future waves. Again, it's just if, you know, Gamersupps decide to move forwards with that. We already know, for example, with Gamersupps, they usually have a big banner. There was one at TwitchCon, I think it was. It was TwitchCon, and obviously they have like Shy Lily, people like that up on there. But then they actually removed Cinder's picture from the banner, obviously, because they don't really want to associate with her at this time. But again, you know, she is still a part of Gamersupps. She is still in Gamersupps. So again, we might be able to see, you know, her coming back to a VCard if she decides to come back, or when she decides to come back. I don't know. It's probably an if. But again, it's interesting. Also, there's some other stuff as well, obviously including the VShoujo stuff. Apparently, someone under the name of Cinder actually donated $6,666. Now, obviously, you know, pretty much everybody can write whatever name they want there, so we're unsure on whether this is actually Cinder or not, but obviously a lot of people have been freaking out over this over the past couple of days. Obviously, this has got 1.7 million views here. Now, obviously, if it is Cinder, I think that's great. I mean, she's, you know, providing money for a charity for a good cause. Now, obviously, you know, she has literally donated money, didn't speak about it at all, and just kind of, you know, there was nothing else to that. So I think, honestly, that's one of the best ways to go about it. She's done it well there. I mean, you know, if she was to go and make a post, or maybe say she's coming back at the same time as donating this money, I think that would have been quite bad, because obviously that would be promoting a comeback, which I just think is bad. But she didn't do that, which I think is great. And I think that just donating and then leaving, obviously, is probably one of the best courses of action, and shows that she genuinely cares about the Iron Mouse situation enough to donate. So again, you know, that, you know, is the case. But also, as I said, it could also just be someone else writing a different name and, you know, stealing the username and just pretending to be Cinder. But obviously, that is quite a large amount of money to be donating, pretending to be Cinder. I mean, I don't really know who has that kind of money for a joke like that. But hey, maybe there is someone out there that does have $6,666. But either way, that is still a very large amount of money going to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is great. And, you know, obviously that is always welcome, no matter who it's from, you know, even if it is Cinder. So again, that is pretty much all of the news to do that kind of stuff. I thought it was kind of interesting to see some of these posts, obviously with the whole TCG stuff, because again, you know, I feel like at the moment, because Cinder is an inactive VTuber, she won't be included in many partnerships, whether it's VCards, whether it's whatever, you know, it's pretty much anything that she was involved in, or any kind of drops, she probably won't be for the time being, until or if she does come back. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all the update that I wanted to give you guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Gamersupps, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, you get yourself some VCards if you want with that code. Again, it's really, really great. They got some really great stuff over there, so I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.